Well, maybe we'll work on this. Roll the intro. What is up, you guys? Welcome back. So, it is Sunday, and normally I try to release a video on Saturday, but since the surgery I've been kind of, a little bit slow. Just I've had a lot going on and everything else. So, today I wanted to, let's start it off this way. So, I literally was when they released that they were going to, or when they announced they were going to do the pre-order for the Series X, I was the first person in line at my local store to pre-order it, and then the first person in line to pick mine up. Still got the original box and receipt and all that good stuff. And I brought it home and I made a little plexiglass stand with a light on it and all that stuff. Anyway, but during my surgery, I couldn't really get out of bed, and since my Xbox Series X sits on the console or on my shelf in the living room, I couldn't play it in the bedroom where I was laying in bed. So the wife was kind enough to move the Xbox for me, and when she went to move it, I noticed that it was really, really dusty and dirty and all that stuff. So I was going to clean it up and put it back on the shelf where it belongs, and play it some more, but I kind of got distracted with some other stuff, and anyway, here we are today. So in this video, what we're going to do, and what I'm going to show you is, I'm going to show you how to take apart the Series X, and we're going to repaste we're going to reapply thermal paste to it, clean it all up, put new thermal paste on it, clean all the dust out of it and all that good stuff, and reassemble this guy. The thermal paste I've got is the Thermal Grizzly. Give me 1 second, I'll pull it out. Voila. The Cryonaut Extreme. Now, I bought this shortly after I bought my laptop, my Lenovo Legion laptop, and I bought this to re-thermal paste that, even though it's brand new, and also to do the Series X. So this is what we're going to use, is the Extreme, because the Xbox Series X doesn't come with liquid metal like the PlayStation does from factory, so you don't have anything to worry about there. Now you guys can kind of take a look and see all the dust that is already, this is literally brand new. And when I say brand new, I got it day one. It's been sitting on the shelf being played ever since. But shy of that, it's brand new. So it has, however, filled up with a substantial amount of dust. So the first thing that I'm going to do is get the old vacuum cleaner and the old brush attachment for the vacuum cleaner, and I'm going to actually the first thing I'm going to do is empty this the vacuum container out because it's filthy. So give me just 1 second. Let me clean this vacuum up so that we don't drop anything inside the Xbox accidentally, and I'll be right back. Okay, so one thing that I can tell you about the Series X right off the bat, for those of you that don't have one or are thinking about getting one or something else, is that the Series X moves a ridiculous amount of air. Absolutely insane amount of air. Let me clean this up. And so with the amount of air that this thing moves, that it is very dusty is not surprising even a little bit to me. I would be very surprised if it did not. If it did not move a substantial amount of air, I would really be surprised if it didn't. So the first little tab that we want to clear off. Now I haven't disassembled these, and I haven't really watched any of the disassembly videos. I guess I just kind of figure how hard can it be, really. That's never going to be a 10, is it? No, that's going to be probably an 8. Let's see. And an 8 will do it. So we've got a green screw underneath that little tab. And there's a screw right here underneath the middle of this one. Okay. Now, a lot of people might say just poke a hole in it, which you can do, but you don't have to do that. We don't have to do that anymore, guys. Microsoft is pretty good about putting stickers on that you can remove fairly easily without destroying them. So we just want to go slow and nice and easy so we can get a corner up that we can work with. There we go. And we're just going to peel this guy back. And this right here is going to be our screw. So we've got a screw here. And then, does this just lift up now? I don't see anything necessarily holding it in, so it should. Little spudger deal here. Okay. So once you get those two screws, the back panel just comes off. It's pretty easy. I see a little tab right here. You can see it. But I can't quite. There's a little tab inside of this right here, and it lifts up, and I'm sure that there is a way. This guy right here, I mean, I can see the way it locks in. It's obvious how it locks in. Voila. Okay, cool. So, to get the bottom plate off, let me walk you through how you do that. What you're going to want is a little flathead screwdriver, or the back of a pair of tweezers is fine. And when you look in this inside edge, bring the camera down. When you look in the side edge right here beside this card, there is a little tab on the ground. I don't know if you guys can see me prying that up right there. Right here. Okay, there's a little tab, and it's got a little lock on it right there. And then that allows this to just rotate, the foot on it to just rotate and come on out. And then we have several screws on the bottom. So, let me back this guy up just a little bit. Okay. Come all the way out here. That'll work. So on the bottom we've got 1, 2, 3 green screws. We're going to remove these first with our Xbox upside down. And then we have 1, 2 of these long black screws. These are also T8. T8 ought to work for these. I said long black screws. No, they're little short ones. I thought they would, going on previous Xbox experience, that they'd be longer screws, but they're not. Little short black screws, 2 of those. And then we can flip this guy over. And right here is our plug for our fan. So let's go ahead and unplug him. A little bit of wiggling. We can loosen and take out these screws, which again are these little short black ones. And then we've got 1 screw right in the middle. Oh my God. Dropped it. That's probably not good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing we're taking it apart, huh? I don't think these are T9s. I think I'm using a busted T9. But I don't actually think that this is a T9 screw. I don't actually think it is. There's our fan module right there. It comes out. So we're going to set him aside. And then our little green tray should, I don't know, have to look at him. He should pop right out, but he's not right now, so we're just going to leave him be. Okay, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I had my second backup microphone. I kept hitting it with my head. So our disc guy goes right here. He's got one of our little short black screws. Deep down inside of here, which I probably don't have to take out. This is it looks like maybe a USB card. Yeah, that's what that is. Yep. And there's a little cable that attaches. Does it just pull out? Yep. And then this USB card comes out. Okay. And then our disk drive, in theory, oh my God, I just picked up on it. The whole thing it did a thing. It came out at me. I don't like that. That was not exactly what I had in mind. Okay, that just clips on. It's just got a little metal back cover. I didn't know what that was. I was unsure about it, but it's just a little metal back cover for the disk drive connectors. I've never actually put a disk in this. So it would be, my guess would be as good as yours on the disk drive. I know that Microsoft, there were a few reported problems when the thing first released. So never actually put a disc in it, so the thing may not work, I don't know. Alright, and so out comes with that, I don't see any other connections. Does this slide? It slides up, okay. So we slide it, okay, we've got 2 little metal pins at the bottom of this center aluminum block. And the Xbox just slides up, and then, what do we got here? A little sticky tape. Does this right here have to come out? No, surely not. There's this little ribbon cable here that comes around the side. Okay, it attaches to this cable. That is this cable here. So something has to give here. It think this cable has to go. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So just stick something non-sharp, non-dangerous, non-cutting in there and pry off the sticky tape that holds this cable in. And then, now what has us? I don't know. Oh, Lord, no. Okay, we probably should have just left this cable in. Yeah, should have. Yeah, we should have just left that cable in, but we didn't. Well. Oh, there's another cable. Okay, this cable has us. Oh, ooh, we want to be careful there. Okay. So there's a little tiny connector in here for this cable. And what has happened is I've accidentally pulled it harder than I probably should have. That's no bueno. Useless. What kind of little connector is this? Never seen one before. Okay. So you just push in on it and it releases. And now, in theory, our Xbox should, if we haven't damaged our cabling, the Xbox itself should come out, leaving just our one screw that we dropped, our empty housing, a couple of little minor circuit boards, and this is our actual Xbox right here. Okay. So we're going to flip this over and going to remove a little plastic band, is what they've got holding this thing together. Goes around that way. And then, I'm just looking here. Just looking. Looks like we've got a screw here, and a screw here, and a screw here, and a screw here. I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like that this metal shield here is going to have to come. No, this has got to come. This is the first piece. Yep, okay, those are definitely T8s. I've been using a broken T9, but they're definitely T8s. So, you've got a little metal shield right here on the corner. This little guy. And he has to be removed first. Then it looks like we're going to have to take off our power cord adapter connector. It's a really long screw. Okay. Alright, that makes sense. So that can come up. You can't remove, there's a screw underneath here, underneath this this little, I'm assuming this is the Wi-Fi board, probably. I'm assuming. It may not be, but I'm assuming it's the Wi-Fi board. But there's a screw underneath that we've got to take out, and we can't get to it without removing this board. Kind of one of these trial and error type things. Perhaps I should have watched a disassembly video, would have helped. Okay. Oh, there's two screws underneath it. There we go. Long screw. Interesting. So they're switching between T8s and T9s here. Interesting. So the way I'm laying these out, I'm laying them out in the direction and the order in which they go. Which is a pro level tip for you guys. If you're never taken a console apart before, you're not sure how it goes back together, or you're not sure about the best way to go about disassembling something, it's when you take something apart, lay your screws out, group them together with what they go with, right? Or in this particular order where they're alternating different screw sizes, lay them out in the order that they come apart. And that way when you go to put them back together, you know exactly where they go. Switching back over to our 9. Take out this screw right here in the middle. And this screw right here on the bottom. Okay. Then we should be able to use our 9 to take apart. Take this little screw out up here. I'll tell you what else I'm going to do. I'm going to thread a turn or two of this. These screws, these little machine screws here, I'm going to thread them back in the holes they go in, so that I don't forget exactly where they go. That's another little pro tip for you guys. If you haven't spent a lot of time disassembling a console, what you'll run into is you'll run into situations where you don't remember where the screw went, how the stupid thing came apart, or where the screws are for a certain component. Put them back with what they went with, and you won't have that problem. Almost. this plate has to come up first. Okay. So let's take this plate up. And we'll set him over here. And then we can take not quite. Another little pro tip for you guys is don't force anything. Take your time. Go slow. And whatever you do, don't force it. Because if you force something apart, then you're going to end up breaking it. Remember, this stuff went together without any force at all being involved. So if you go forcing it apart, then something is wrong. You're going to break something, which is going to lead to a bad day. And that's not what you want. Come on. Put it right there. It'll be fine. Okay. And it looks like we got another little cable routing clip here. Aha, there's a clip in there. They didn't make that guy easy to get to, did they? Okay. There's that. And then there's that little clip. And that's it for our power supply. He can come out. We can set him aside. Okay. I do want to take a closer look at this little clip here that had this wire going into it, because I put some tension on it and I'm slightly concerned I may have broken it. Okay, so that can be disconnected. I don't see why I couldn't just pull the heatsink off of this side. I don't see any reason why I couldn't. Again, I'm not going for the most in-depth, deepest clean ever. I generally don't do that on my own personal consoles, or at least not the ones that stay in steady use. I will keep them clean and dusted on the shelf, and then that's kind of where I leave it. Tell you what, before I go any further, let me go ahead. This has got so much dust on it. Let me go ahead and so far, all of these heatsink screws on our big copper plate here are all T9s. Yeah, I'm not really surprised, by the way, that this thing gets as covered in dust on the inside as it does. One big problem I do see is all the airflow comes up to the bottom, and so this right here is going to get caked, absolutely caked with dust. And these are pretty close together, and when it does, it's going to restrict airflow. Now this thing moves a lot of air, a lot. And not only does it move just an enormous amount of air, but you know, the air that it spits out is hot. So obviously, and like I said, I mean, I've watched some reviews and stuff, but I haven't really watched any disassemblies, and I don't really know what it runs at. I know that the amount of air coming out of this is a massive amount more than what came out of the 1X. Massive amount more. Oh my God, the whole thing pulls apart. Okay. Alright, I'll go with that. Okay. So it looks like we've got a big thermal pad right here. Right here for our external SSD add-on, and then we've got one right here, and this is probably Wi-Fi or something, give or take. And then we've got our Faraday cage around our, oh my God, probably going to replace this with thermal pad. Probably going to replace both of these with thermal pads. We've got our Faraday cage around the bottom of our board. Jeez Louise, what a pain. That was just, I just feel like that was just excessive. Like we didn't have to be that way. Oh well. Okay. So these are T9s. They're going to hold our heatsink on. I do like this X clamp a lot better than the old style. I will say that right off the bat. I do like this a lot better. Carefuling. And I will also say, man, this thing holds some serious pressure on it. I will also say that while I do like this X-clamp design, I am not sure about the internals on this thing. I'm really not. I'm not trying to be ugly. This thing is really built. It doesn't seem as serviceable as... He just wedges a little bit. Oh, nope, we've missed a screw. We don't want to pull too hard yet. Missed a screw. It doesn't seem as serviceable, as easy to work on as like a Xbox One series. And especially the later ones. The Series S's and the Series X's are just incredibly easy to get apart and work on. And this does not. This is a little bit... There are multiple layers here. Okay. Microsoft standard green goop for all of the VRMs, and my hand is all in that guy. Shouldn't be. Okay. Thermal paste is dry, very dry and hard. Okay, well, I mean that's why we're replacing this, you know. And I say that's why. That's not exactly why. The reason we're replacing this is because it was dirty and dusty and all the rest of it. And since we're in here, we're going to go ahead and do it. Some more goop. They thermal pasted the pee out of this thing, man. And when I say that, I mean, look at all of the thermal paste wasted around the processor. Just look at all of it down in here. And obviously, we got to clean all this out, clean it up, and put it back together, and put our new thermal paste on. But that is just, I mean, just look at how much there is. And we've got thermal paste here, thermal goop, whatever that is. Yeah, that could probably be replaced. This is like a 2mm pad. We could probably replace that, but that is in good shape and it's still soft. So we're going to leave him for now. This is all on our heat sink. Yeah, this is all soft. This is okay, but this is hard as a rock right here. They do have a shielding around this, which I find kind of interesting. This is a vapor chamber too. That's what they say. Okay, I'm going to take a short break and we'll come back and clean all this up and clean all the thermal gunk off of the heat sink up, and we'll reapply our Thermal Grizzly and we'll start reassembling. Be right back. Alright guys, welcome back. So I was thinking about it when I was taking a little short break, and I think the next time that I do this, this time I'm just gonna leave this thermal putty here. But I think next time that I go and do this, I think I'm going to replace all of this putty with thermal pads, with the Thermal Grizzly minus 8 pads is what I'm going to do. For now though, we're just going to clean all this up. Now there's a bunch of different methods you can use. As this stuff is dried, I'm going to show you the method that I use once I set that out of the way. And we'll start here on our copper plate. So I just use a little plastic spudger and go around and scrape it. And I use plastic because plastic's not going to score this, scratch it up. I'll say this stuff is not as dried up as it looked like it was, though it's still pretty dry. When I did my Legion 7 laptop, it was horrible. That stuff was so dry it was unusable. I mean, it was dangerously dry. Let me find my paper towels that I know I have around here somewhere, but they're never where I need them when I need them. You've got to go over here. I stacked everything in the world on top of them. There we go. I just want to carefully pick up all of this that I can with my hands. And then anything left, I'll come in and we'll pick up with some tweezers before we do a final wipe down. A little bit of isopropyl. A little bit of damage to our putty. Don't worry about that. I'm going to try to wrap this little curly Q of putty around this a little bit better, because I noticed on this one particular chip, this bit of putty right here was a lot smaller than the rest of them. That one dot right there in the middle was substantially smaller than the rest of them, and it wasn't sitting, even these are not even fully sitting on the chips. They could all slide that way just a little bit, and so could all of these. These are okay, but all of these right here, all these thermal putties right here could all slide that way. I may replace all of these. I don't know how thick that is, maybe 1 or 2 millimeters, but I may replace all of those. Let me think on that for a minute. Set this out the way. And I'll think on that, and we'll get the main board down here. We're going to use just a little bit of isopropyl, and we're going to start with our paper towel and see what we can get loose on the chip. Okay, that ain't bad. And now we're going to take our little spudger, and again we're going to just apply a couple drops of isopropyl in here. And I'm just going to use the edge of my spudger. I'm going to be real careful around these transistors. Very, very, very careful around the transistors. The idea here is to just gently, very, very, very gently, almost no pressure, just letting gravity do the work, taking our time. So, we're going to get this stuff out, and we're going to get our little spreader gizmos out. Let's screw onto this. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. I want to check, because this is the one that I used. Yeah, that stuff's still good and liquidy. So the way you do this with the Thermal Grizzly gizmo here is this little silicone tip slides over and screws down. Then, the way that you use this is you start in the edge, probably, it's supposed to be a little bit thinner than that, but this will be fine. Most of that is going to squish out. And then you take your other side and you apply an even thinner bead. And that is all of that. There's no more remaining. So it ended up being, well, I'm a little shy, but I put extra on the put extra on the thermal, or on the CPU anyway, so it should be fine. It should be fine. Now I don't actually remember which way this thing goes. There's an arrow. Is there also an arrow? I believe it goes. I believe this goes. Oh, it does. It has to go this way. It has to go this way. Just like that. Then our X clamp. Does he go this way? Does he go this way? If you guys notice, I'm doing this just a little bit at a time. And the reason I'm doing it just a little bit at a time on each corner is because I don't want to overload the tension too much, too fast in one area. Trying to keep and maintain an even pressure across is the trick here. Okay, now we can put our little shield back on. We can put our little shield back on, this guy. Bend our tabs. The tabs that I bent, let's put them back where they go. How they go. Uh-oh. Yeah, uh-oh. Well, whoops. So, looks like we'll be taking this back off immediately. Good times. Forgot the little metal shield. Forgot the little metal shield. Well, I tell you what, I grabbed a hold of it, that's for sure. Ooh. 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 There's my little thingy. Yeah, like I said, most of this stuff squeezed out already, which is fine. We're just going to reapply it, scoop it up and put it back in the middle. Just like that. I'm not aiming for perfection here. Okay. So this has to go on here like this. Is that right? Yep, that's right. That way. Then this heatsink has to come on and lay on here like that. Then we can put this guy back down here. Then we can put this guy back down, bend our tabs back, we bent again, and he can go back down on there and click back down, and then we can set our base back down here, pushing this cable up through. Okay, cool. And this should plug back in. And now that that's down, we can start dropping our components back in place. It should start with this guy right here. Okay, we can plug our cable back up. Actually, before we do that, all of these little cables need to drop. It needs to go in here. I think, yeah, that definitely goes that way. Ooh. Okay. This comes across the top here in a minute. Let me vacuum this. Alright, so I believe we are nearly at a point now. Nearly at a point. Find a good place to get a hold of this Kapton tape. Peel him back up just to hold this cable back down right here. There we go. Not bad. Okay, so this is basically our assembled Xbox pretty much. We've got to put our screws on this side, which we'll go ahead and wrap up now. Get all these guys in, and we've got to put our little port on this guy. The build quality is excellent, I'll say that. Perhaps, and who am I to criticize? What do I know? You know, I just fix the things occasionally. You know, so legitimately, what do I know? I don't know anything. I'm not a thermal engineer at all. What do I know? But perhaps a bit excessive on the heat management. I get it. I understand completely why they went the way they went. It makes perfect sense. And all this extra metal shielding around it, though, it's what's kind of got me not quite stumped, but a little bit scratching my head going, I mean, you can do it this way. It's a bit like using a sledgehammer to drive a trim nail. You know, you can do it. Obviously, it'll work. I would be willing to bet money that when they revise this in several years, they release the updated version or whatever, they do away with a bunch of this. Their cost to assemble this, with all these extra screws and all the extra stuff, has got to be pretty astronomical. I just read a thing the other day that said, Sony has already reached the point where the PS5, the non-digital, the disk drive version, is already breaking even. It is no longer losing Sony money. Now Xbox, I don't think Microsoft has sold as many Xboxes as Sony did, but I also don't think Microsoft had to. You know, they weren't in the position to where they had to sell 10 million units. You know, and Sony kind of is. If Sony wants to stay in this game, they've got to everything they do has got to be a blockbuster. Which, you know, they're doing a great job, and I'm not going to get into which console's better. What, you know, my standpoint, I'm an Xbox guy. I prefer them. I'm not going to get into the whole, you know, Microsoft versus Xbox. What I'm going to say is Sony has got to, at this point. Their consoles have to be blockbusters. Their games have to. Their controllers, everything they do has got to be a blockbuster. It's got to make an insane amount of money. They don't have a choice. And the reason I say that they don't have a choice is because they don't have a Game Pass, right? Where they're getting subscriber numbers, and they don't have the subscriber base on PlayStation Online that Microsoft has with Xbox Gold. They just don't have that continuous monthly revenue coming in. You know, they don't have the infrastructure build up. They're not Microsoft. You know, they don't have it. Not a good thing, not a bad thing. Not knocking them at all. They just, you know, it's well known, well discussed, well talked about. They just don't have that infrastructure, and so because of that, Microsoft can take a little bit more of a hit. And I say a little bit. They can take a substantial more of a hit on the console itself because it doesn't have to be a blockbuster, right? It doesn't have to, you know, everything they do doesn't have to be the absolute greatest thing. All they've got to do is get close, right? And if they get close, then they win, right? You know, taking away, the idea is not really to run Sony all the way out of the console game, and, you know, it's not what it's about for Microsoft. It is. It absolutely is. But it's not at the same time. I know it doesn't really make sense to hear it that way, but that's not the point. They could do that very easily. They could just go in and buy all the studios. They could just buy Sony and be done with it. But that's not the point, right? Is that backwards? I put this on here wrong. Entirely possible, I guess, isn't it? I bet you this has to go on here first. Bet you it does. I also don't like this bit of this design. I don't like this at all, actually. I think this is terrible. This rubber band. The rubber bands are stretching over a $1,000 worth of the latest and greatest. I think is about the stupidest thing. And I don't see the purpose. I don't see what it's accomplishing. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, what do I know? But again, I don't see what this is gaining. It can't go that way. It can't go. Said that. Must go that way. Boy, if it does, where can that possibly? Because that can't. Unless it's backwards. Bet it is. I bet that's the problem. Yep, that's the problem. I put it on backwards. Okay. So then this has to go this way. Ah. It makes a lot more sense that way. Yep, because that will clip right there perfectly. And hold him on. This will stretch around. And this Go that way. Oh no, I see now. This has to go on here first, and then this can come lock in that way. I don't really like that. I don't really see what that is accomplishing. It's not like it's tight. Not like it's holding anything in. I don't know. Beats me. Okay, so that's our main console reassembled. Now, let's set him out of the way. Set him out of the way for now, and let's just do a quick wipe down on our plastics. Just a quick wipe down on our plastics on the insides. Not going nuts. Again, this thing will never be absolutely spotlessly clean, and I say that it will. Probably the next time that I go to cleaning this thing, I will probably do a deep clean on it. But this time, I'm not super concerned about all that. All I'm really concerned with this time is knocking the majority of the dust down. Just the majority of it. I would like to get this green thing out, but I don't know how it comes out. I don't see any little clips that are holding it in, except for these little black pieces here. I don't know if it... Surely it does detach somehow. I don't know. Tell you what I'm going to do. Let me throw the vacuum at this guy. Alright, this little button right here fell out, and looking at it, trying to look and see. Okay, he can only go in one way, and this is the way he goes in, just like that. Okay, cool. That's cool. And then I guess we can set our Xbox back inside, and okay, that guy back in. We can drop our fan back in up top. Said we can. We're going to clean him up first. Give him a little wipe down. Okay, so all these screws right here in. We've got our two to put in on the bottom, two black screws, and our two green screws. Well, I'll say our two or three, one, two, three, yeah, three green screws that go in on the bottom. We got that all done. We can wipe down our little base, our little pedestal. What that is. Now, this pedestal goes on here a certain way. And there's a little lock that corresponds to this tab right here. Click, and you got it. Alright. Got all of that, so we can put our back panel on. Nope. Back panel has to slot in this way and then drop down. There we go. Now we've got a nice, clean Xbox Series X ready to go back into service. So, where does that leave us? Well, the next time we clean this out, guys, I will get the thermal pads and we'll do a full replace on those. And we'll do that video for you guys. As far as that goes, though, this guy is, I think that Microsoft probably could have done a slightly different job. I'm not saying better or worse, just a different job. They could have done a few things differently. I would have done them a little bit differently, but again, I'm no thermal engineer, so what do I know? You know, nothing is the answer. I know nothing. I would have done some things a little bit differently than they have done them. Not to say that they're right or wrong. I just would have done them a little bit differently than they did. How hard is it to take one of these apart and repair it? Honestly, I kind of equate it, I guess, to a Sony console. I mean, there's a lot of excess screws. The different size screws I'm not a big fan of, by the way. The T8s and T9s that are on here I'm not a fan of, and I don't know why they did that, and I don't like that at all, not even a little bit. To me, that's silly and unneeded. They could have stuck with the same size, screw head. I know why they didn't. You want to make it easy for your people that are assembling them to know exactly where they go and all of that stuff, and that's why they don't do it. But they could have done it and just used all similar size screw holes for or screw heads for everything. But again, what do I know? Guys, I appreciate you watching this video, hanging out with me for a few minutes. I hope you learned something. I hope you did. If you did, or if you didn't, if you liked the video, or if you didn't, you know what to do. I appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Thanks.